Mr. Kean, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would thank all of our witnesses being here today. As we draft a new authorization, there are several major areas that this committee must look towards. Technical advances in aviation since the last reauthorization, passenger, pilot, worker safety, workforce training programs, general aviation, manufacturing, drone policy, information sharing to increase efficiency. And it's important that this committee do that with your insights and advice on a long-term basis, and it needs to be bipartisan like the previous ones were. If we're looking at the FAA, and Mr. Bolter, how can you lay out, when would you lay out a regulatory framework to enable AAM? What do you view this industry looking like, and how soon? And how is the FAA going to help facilitate that?
So we look at operations, we look at the leading applicants being certified, the devices or the aircraft being certified end of 2024. That is the current schedule. That schedule is made by the applicant. We believe that we have committed to the fourth quarter of 2024 having the operational rules in place and the operational infrastructure. So operational infrastructure is not just a set of rules, it's training to our inspectors, it's ability to add those on to commercial certificates, that environment. And then, what we've learned from the industry, and we've had a fair amount of listening sessions with them, and we've been working with each of the applicants that are kind of in the lead here of what their expectation to do, as we expect VFR operations in 2025 in some major cities around America on a limited basis, moving, in scale, moving along in scale. As that grows, we're working with our air traffic colleagues so they can understand what that looks like, at least at first, and then what kind of systems are we going to need long term. Right?
When would you know of slippage of that timeline?
We will know. We have a series of goalposts, if you will, and
I understand that. I'm asking you,
we
when
would know,
would you understand there's slippage in that timeline?
I do know that we've got it. We've met our first three goals, and it is on time currently.
Okay, thank you. If I may, also, Dr. Buckley, what visions do you see that can help the FAA do its job, and that we as Congress should know exist, and when we're looking at the regulatory framework?
What we really look for is what does it need to us to transition to this modernized environment so that we can operate a safe NAS. And what I would encourage Congress and the FAA to consider is what is that risk and dependency trade-off as we move forward to adopt some of these new technologies. It's not easy. There's a lot of demands placed on sustainability, things we have to get right now, but then transition where we need to be. And I think it is that thoughtful trade-off at the enterprise level that I would encourage all of us to look at as we continue to think about the future.
Okay. Thank you. And Mr. Bolter, how will the safety management systems requirement for Part 135 operators and tour operators improve safety for the passengers?
Safety management systems are a systematic approach, and it moves us on the oversight world to looking at risk versus looking at strictly compliance. Right? We want compliance, and we want operators to holistically look at risk across their organization, identify that risk, and then put mitigations in place for that risk. So it will change the way we've seen our relationship with the major carriers change, and it's a risk-based system. We keep asking them, what are you doing to identify risk? What are you doing to control risk? And it is really a change in the way we think. Now, the challenge for us, of course, in this is scaling it from the single pilot, single airplane person to large operations, and we're beginning to work through that as the rulemaking moves forward.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, the other members of the panel. I yield back my time.